Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Clover HR seminar. Apologies for the delay in beginning. We had a few technical issues. I'm very sorry about that. But today I'm going to be giving some tips on how to create a powerful CV to help you win that next role. And firstly, I would like to introduce myself. This is me. My name is Deirdre Silver, and prior to joining Clover, I spent 20 plus years in headhunting on the research side, working with many candidates and helping them shape their CVs. I also have a certificate in counselling and organisational dynamics. And at Clover CV, our focus is on helping everybody succeed in finding their next job with the help of an effective CV. Every situation is different, so there is no one-size-fits-all approach, but there are some basic principles to help develop a CV that recruiters will stop and look at. And I call these the ABCV principles. Clover HR, your trusted people advisors with a team of highly experienced business partners and specialists in recruitment, learning and development, coaching, and health and safety. And this picture was taken at our last team gathering back in February, just before lockdown. And we've had quite a few people join us since then and hope to be able to meet up again in the not too distant future. At the end of the webinar, I'll provide you with my contact details, so please do get in touch by email or phone if you have any questions or would like to discuss any of the points raised. Hopefully I've muted all microphones, but if you could double check that your mic is muted, that would be really helpful. And at the end, there will be a screen asking for feedback. So if you, it's very short survey, if you could, I'm grateful. Thank you. And now just to briefly introduce what we'll be covering today. A is for approach, so we'll be looking at online or attachment and how you approach the format. B is the blank sheet, where to start. And C is content, so that's assembling data, selecting data, presenting data. So A is for approach, online or attachment. Do you need a CV? Yes, a CV is the basic foundation of your application, however you're applying and whatever term you use, whether you use CV, LinkedIn profile or online application. And why is that? Well, many recruiters and job boards request CVs as a matter of course. An online application form asks you for the same information that you put in your CV, and having developed a CV prepares you for filling out an online form. And by preparing the CV, you've gathered all the information in one place, so you have no more searching for dates of employer changes, promotions, education and training, etc. So next, approach your layout. A CV is designed to be read, sometimes by a machine, known as parsing, but generally by a human being, and both are looking for clarity. Firstly, set your font. Keep it simple. Some automated readers reject certain fonts. Arial, Calibri, Verdana are all professional, and 11-point is recommended. Margins, keep the margins clear. Don't be tempted to fill them with shading or extra information, and white space will give clarity. Length, aim for 2 sides, unless you're very early in your career when one side will do. And in either situation, use the space carefully. Don't go over with just a couple of lines. So you have a sharp font, clear typeface and smart layout, but you're still faced with a blank sheet. Some people have a CV prepared, but many don't, or feel the time has come to start from scratch. And a blank piece of paper can be very daunting, particularly during a difficult time such as redundancy. So begin with the basic facts, your name and contact details. Name, use the name you're known by in a work situation. If you're known by your second name, as I am, or maiden name, use that. If later in the process you need a DBS or have to supply bank account details, you have time to do that. Be consistent across all platforms. Don't use one name on LinkedIn and a different one on your CV. Phone number. Show in UK format, 07, unless you're signalling that you do a lot of international work, in which case use +44. Email address. Keep it businesslike. We recommend having a separate CV job email address, so all your applications and correspondence are in one place. Use a major provider like Microsoft or Gmail. There's less likelihood of your emails landing in junk, and always check your junk mail if you've put in an application. Address, no need for your full address on your CV, but location is helpful. Education, qualifications, and professional development. I advise leaving out dates for schooling and further education, but do put dates in for recent achievements, such as training and continuing professional development. So start with education. GCSEs, don't list them all, but highlight if you have maths, English, and science, or a subject that's relevant to the post you're interested in, e.g. art, design, sport, if you're looking in that sector. It demonstrates to the employer that you not only have a talent, but also have had an interest from an early age. A-levels include subjects and grades. Degree, subject, class of degree, and university. Work experience if a sandwich course. And masters or PhD, give your subject and dissertation and specializations, but don't give more space to your GCSEs than your PhD. Qualifications and professional development. Look for balance. It isn't helpful to list every course you've ever been on, but it is useful to demonstrate that you've developed during your career, and do list dates for this section. C is for content. CVs have one goal, to help you gain a new role. They underpin the whole process, and they have two functions. One, to introduce you to a recruiter employer, and secondly, to apply for a specific role. But this doesn't mean that you need two completely different CVs. As an introduction, you need to show your skills and experience in a broad, clear format. As an application, you need to highlight the skills and the experience requested by the employer. Now, choosing your content. Most CVs are rejected because there's too much content. And this tells the employer that you either do not understand the role you're applying for, or are panicked and feel you need to tell them that you can do everything, whether it's relevant to them or not. Preparation of content is therefore key, and using a spreadsheet to collate your data is extremely helpful. The clarity of your data is the key to a powerful CV, so the time invested will be worth it. You can use the spreadsheet for interview preparation and the basis of CVs going forward. I recommend creating the following pages that you will discover what works best for you. Number 1, education, including workplace training and continuing professional development. Include up-to-date certificates for e.g. health and safety requirements, specialist driving operational licenses. 2, functional skills. E.g. a career in finance would demonstrate financial control, tax, treasury, M&A, etc. A career in communications could demonstrate development of social media platforms, writing, editing, monitoring. A career in construction could demonstrate work with major infrastructure projects, high security projects, hazardous projects, working with historic teams. And senior management need to demonstrate fiscal responsibility, strategic thinking, and clear metrics. 3, geographic experience, including languages. List all countries or regions that you worked in or with, and particularly those that you've spent time in or know the working practices. Programs you've worked with. General office programs such as the Microsoft suites. Design, editing packages such as Adobe. Organizational software such as Sage and Oracle. Bespoke or sector-specific software such as CRM, educational software, medical products such as EMIS. And if you're a technical specialist, talk about coding, languages, platforms you've used, built, or developed. Achievements and challenges faced. Ideally, this is individual, but you can obviously include time in a successful team. Try and always back up achievements with numbers. Show your part in the solution to a challenge. Show growth in a role. A formal promotion would be listed separately, but demonstrate where you've been given additional responsibilities. 6, organisations worked for, including size in terms of turnover, employees, geographic spread, markets served. And 7, roles, job titles, responsibilities, who you reported to, teams. And as you can see, you can provide a lot of information, and not all of this is going to be relevant for every CV, but the spreadsheet is a place to store it, and you'll be less tempted to include it in your CV every time. Assembling your CV. You now have the structure and the data, so the next stage is assembling your CV. Again, the focus is on clarity. So, name and contact details. As referred to above, keep these professional. Professional profile. This is the core of your CV. It's where you give the recruiter your key experience, skills, and drivers, all in 4 or 5 lines. Although it appears at the very beginning of your CV, it's often a good idea to create it after you've begun to develop the CV and then make amendments accordingly. The balance between what you claim in your profile and what you demonstrate in your CV is what most employers and some algorithms are checking. Education and professional development. Put education first, beginning with the most recent attainment. Leave a space and then list professional development. Don't include more than the 3 most recent or most relevant if applying for a specific role. So, using data from your spreadsheet, begin your career history. For example, we've got dates, company, position, responsibilities, achievements, and progression. So, and although this refers to a particular function and sector, the principle applies to all roles. With the layout, you've given the reader dates, organisation names, and job titles, all highlighted in bold. Context, you've given the reader clear information about the sector you're working in, the scale of the organisation, your position within the structure, and the challenges immediately faced and how they've been overcome. Achievements. You've given the reader both your achievements and also the fact that you've been promoted. So continue assembling the CV in the same format, giving dates, organisational detail, your roles, your responsibilities, and your achievements. If you're building on an existing CV, don't just bolt on your most recent role. Have a look at the whole narrative. If you have a large amount of detail surrounding your early roles, cut it back. Allow the recruiter to understand where you are now and what you can bring to their opportunity. Always bear in mind that your most recent experience, the last 2 or 3 roles, depending on timescale, are most likely to bring the skills that the employer is looking for. And if your CV is looking as though it will go over 2 pages, give company and job title only for your early career. If you're looking to change career, follow the same basic principles of demonstrating clearly your career to date, and then give additional focus on your skills, and you'll have included these in your spreadsheet. And they can include project management skills, health and safety, design, machinery operating, office skills, sales skills. They're all valuable and they're all transferable within different settings. Now, complete the professional profile. It's an idea to use postings for roles that you might be interested in to give you guidance. Reflect, but don't mirror the skills and experience that employers are looking for. And this is as relevant for general CVs as for specific applications. Be consistent. If you highlight in your profile experience of particular technology or working practice, ensure you've demonstrated this in the body of your CV. Guide the reader to where you feel strongest. If you're a strategist with good analytical skills, stress your attention to detail rather than looking for large team leadership skills found in sales or hospitality. And be optimistic. Reflect the positive times in your career and what you're interested in and looking for. You do have skills an employer wants. When you have two sides of clear, positive copy, check it again and again. Read it through for sense, not just grammatical sense, but for logic. Do you have to explain any unusual moves or gaps? Read it through for data. Question yourself as though you were at an interview. Are the answers there? Read it through for spelling mistakes, auto-corrected or otherwise. Some professional proofreaders read from the last word to the first. That way, they're looking at each individual word rather than scanning the document. And if you can, ask someone to check it through. If you're using a CV across different platforms, e.g. job boards and LinkedIn, they don't need to be the identical document, but make sure they're telling the reader the same story in terms of dates, companies, and job titles. And as you progress through your career, keep them all updated. I hope you found this ABC Guide to Powerful CV helpful and wish you every success in your job search. If you have any questions, please do get in touch. All contact details are on the next slide. And once again, many apologies for the technical issues at the beginning. I'd like to remind you that this is one of a series of free webinars delivered by Clover HR. We've got 3 more coming up this month. Implementing Business Change on Tuesday, 14th at 12:30. What is Coaching on Thursday, the 16th at 11. And Promoting Inclusion in the Workplace on Thursday, 30th of July at 10. We hope you can join us, and you can also catch up with previous webinars on our website or YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Here are the contact details for the offices, for the Clover offices, and my email is Deirdre, D-E-I-R-D-R-E, @cloverhr.co.uk, or info@cloverhr.co.uk would always find me. Our website is www.cloverhr.co.uk /brands/CloverCV. And thank you very much again. Thank you.